Hey, I'm Rob from JestaThaRogue.com and I'm going to show you how to play Monumental. It's something I really wish I could say. I mean, I've had the script written for months. I'm just missing a few components from the second Kickstarter because the second Kickstarter has not delivered. The first Kickstarter went without a hitch, but the second one has been full of mistruths and broken promises. And as well as Funforge doing that, along with Mythic Games, who did Hell the Last Saga, took all the money, didn't give a game, sold the IP to come on and continue to trade, it's really put me off backing Kickstarters at all. So let's look at that second Kickstarter and the timeline of events, and then we'll go on to my thoughts at the end of the video. Also, I'm re-recording this intro and outro because I wasn't happy with what I said originally. I didn't really get my point across, which is why during the timeline I am much cleaner shaven. And we're going to start way back in the day when dinosaurs roamed the land, the 1st of February 1973. This is when Philippe Nura was born. It is important. I didn't want to make it sound like he was old and roaming the dinosaurs. He's only 4 years older than me. Who am I to say he's old? And out of interest, I did look up what the UK #1 was, and it was actually Blockbuster by Sweet, which is kind of interesting, as Blockbuster is synonymous with the phrase going bankrupt. On the 19th of August 2008, Philippe founded Funforge, which was a game they were going to make games. They were also going to do the French version of games of things like Agricola and Brass, so it was going to be a pretty big deal. The reason I know all this is I got a legitimate anonymous email with all of Philippe's details and all his company history and everything he's done in his entire life. It was very secretive, very CIA. It was weird, kind of exciting. Then on the 28th of April 2009, Kickstarter goes live, which is a site for people to put up their projects, supposed to be for small creators, to be able to get their project up and running, their creative project for whatever it is. And then obviously big companies have come in and started using it as a pre-order system. It's sort of killing the vibe a little bit, but it was successful, so who can you blame? June the 26th, 2010, Alien Frontiers was funded. This is the first big board game in order to get Kickstarter kickstarted in the board game world. I'm not blaming them for anything. Obviously, it was very successful and apparently it's very good. I haven't had a chance to play it, but it's a significant moment. It's worth mentioning. February 2018, I went to the Cannes Festival de Jeux and I saw Monumental for the first time, and it was a deck building 4X game I was being sold as, and the minis looked nice. I thought, this is cool. I am in. March the 14th, 2018, the Kickstarter for Monumental launched. It was €250. I was out. Which is fine, because March the 26th, 2018, it got cancelled anyway because it wasn't going to reach its $162,000 goal. Now in October 2018, I attended Essen and I saw Monumental, and remembering what the price was, I didn't bother giving it a demo, but I know friends that did. Then October the 23rd, 2018, Monumental went live. It was only $100 this time, so I was back on board, but I'd also heard from friends that had demoed it at Essen that it was really good, so I've now got that double confirmation that everything's fine. I backed it, and yes. November the 22nd, 2018, it finished with €600,000 and was due to be delivered in September 2019. November the 19th, 2019, the Namiji Kickstarter goes live, which is a sequel of sorts to Tokaido. It is relevant to the story. I'm not just giving you Kickstarter updates that are 5 years out of date for no reason. November 29th, 2019, Namiji is fully funded. In mid-2020, the first Monumental Kickstarter was delivered. Now, it's kind of delivered in between lockdowns, so I didn't have a chance to play it, but it would have only been 6 months late if it had been on time, and it was kind of delayed by COVID a bit with the deliveries anyway, so not too bad, impressed. Then on June the 12th, 2020, remember this is sort of during COVID, sort of in between those lockdowns after the first big wave and before the second big wave hit in autumn. The next Monumental campaign was announced, including races and factions from Africa, which was really exciting, even though I hadn't had a chance to play the first one yet. But I was excited to get it played, and I was excited to get on board with this Kickstarter, because the first one was a success. June the 15th, 2020, the next campaign started. Remember, we're still during COVID. On June the 15th, 2020, the same day they achieved their funding goal. So far, I was very satisfied, and this is where things started to turn and go downhill. So on June the 16th, 2020, just one day in, they said they're not offering the token version. So basically there's two versions of Monumental. There's a version with the tokens that's cheaper and it's actually easier to play with. And then there's a version that I have with the minis where it looks really good on the table. It's a bit clunky and a bit awkward to set up, but it looks much better, but it's obviously more expensive. And they said they're not offering the token version because there wasn't much demand during the first Kickstarter campaign, so they're not going to do it. June the 16th, 2020, continuous mode was announced. And this is great because for people who had played the original version of Monumental, it was one of those games where you take all your actions and then that player takes all their actions and that player takes all their actions. And turns could take several minutes. So if you were the fourth player on a turn, you've got a lot of downtime. They fixed that with continuous mode where everybody takes one action each. And it involves components allowing you to place markers so you know where to go. So I can take part of my turn, then you can start your turn while I finish my turn off. It made the game go much smoother. People who I know have played both said it's obviously a lot better. So this was great. Also on June the 16th, 2020, they had good news. A new pledge was added, the core box pledge. This allows you to get the base game from the first Kickstarter, including all the extras. Good for those who didn't miss the first Kickstarter. June the 17th, 2020, new pledges are available. The token editions. The ones they said they couldn't do because there was no demand. They've added them now. So there is demand, but not last time, this time. June the 18th, 2020, for the sake of clarity, we've updated the Kickstarter pledge with 3 new pledge levels. June the 22nd, 2020, token set add-on. June the 23rd, 2020, a new pledge level added, which now makes 8 in total. June the 23rd, 2020, the counters add-on has been added. June the 26th, 2020, an art book add-on has been added. And June the 21st, 2020, the Titan add-on has been added. Now at this point, I don't know whether they drip-fed them to keep people interested in the campaign as it was going along, or whether they were just absolutely coming up with ideas on the fly and just spaffing them into the Kickstarter. It seemed at this point they didn't really know what they were doing and they were panicking a little bit. But, okay. And then that was the last one. So June the 5th, 2020, during COVID, it funded 4,203 backers, pledged €467,924 with a delivery date of April 2021. Come on. Mid-July 2020, Revolt, which is a business owned by Philippe, who owned Funforge, went bankrupt. Then the 29th of March 2021, only 1 month before delivery was due to be completed, they then update to say that delivery will slip to November 2021. So November 2021, come on. And the reasons they gave for this is, one, the Funforge team has been working at home since last year, just like most people. And the second one is, in addition to the further workload to assimilate in order to adapt to the crisis, we have factories that are hit, like all factories, by this crisis. Another important thing to mention is, and remember this, the project will be delivered. The funds were set aside a long time ago. 16th of June 2021, the Monumental project makes progress as expected, and we have big hopes for delivery in November. Come on! 19th of August 2021, they update with, we are glad to be back for this new summer update. The game's production keeps moving forward even during the holidays, though slowed down by the temporary absence of some members of the team. Now, this is important. This is a reference to something that hasn't happened yet. The greatest update in Kickstarter history is coming in just 9 months. It's brilliant. 28th October 2021, we came back from Spiel Messe Essen tired, but happy. It warmed our hearts to see so many people come to Funforge booth to discover Monumental or to see quality of the game before it delivered. Now, so they had to pay for this booth. They have quite a big booth at Essen. I didn't attend in 2021 because of issues with flights between the UK and Europe due to COVID still, so I didn't go. But remember, the money's been put aside, so no need to worry. 1st of December 2021, hidden under a lot of images. You have to really scroll down to find this one. It says, delivery delay in capitals. Why they didn't put that at the top? Well, I know why they didn't put it at the top. Given the delays at the factories, combined with the terrifying delays announced by transporters, we estimate that you're receiving the game in June 2022. June 2022, come on! 27th of January 2022. We are happy to announce that all the moulds of the regular sized minis are finished. Now, this is only 3 months after they thought it would deliver, and 7 months after they said it was going to be delivered, and they've just got the moulds finished, so they obviously knew it wasn't going to deliver. I don't know why they didn't tell us sooner, and just be honest. 4th of March 2022, our team attended International Cannes Board Game Convention last week. It was great to see all the players and partners enjoying the simple joy of being together. That is really nice, really sweet, but obviously that booth cost money, but they put the money aside, so nothing to worry about. 4th of April 2022, Funforge says the production process is on the way. The first step started last week. I don't even. 11th of April 2022, Far Cry Beyond Kickstarter goes live. And the 12th of April 2022, the Far Cry Beyond Kickstarter is cancelled. And it reached a third of its goal in 1 day, which apparently wasn't enough. 25th of April 2022, even though this production has started, they have a delay because they had to validate some files before printing. Now, I don't think this is the African Empires, the expansion that this whole Kickstarter was based around. I think this was re-verifying the files that they used for the original core box that they added in later. So I don't think it's anything to do with the expansion, but the core box file, I think. 31st of May 2022. Today, the team of Funforge are deeply saddened to announce that we need time to gather funds for the fulfillment of the Monumental reprint Kickstarter campaign. But they put the money maybe they didn't. Regarding the additional cost, shipping and logistics fees have now increased more than 470% in the past 2 years. We have no solution than to organise to get extra funds. Oops! To be crystal clear, we won't be able to send both Namiji and Monumental at the same time. It's far too expensive. Namiji is the first Kickstarter we need to finish delivering. As Namiji funded before Monumental, Extra funds were gathered. Now will go to Namigi first, but be assured that all backers will receive their pledge until the very last. So this just basically telling you that the money they put aside for Monumental was used to ship Namigi. They've been very clear about that. July the 7th, 2022, since the announcement of our financial struggles, we stay focused on our goal, unblock funds. Our current process is, of course, confidential and I can't share anything with you. I'm sorry for the delay. I planned to release this update sooner, but time was running out and Paris and Ludic Convention was quickly approaching, July the 2nd and July the 3rd. I had no time to inform you sooner, so again, no money to ship games, money to attend conventions, but the money was the money's been spent, hasn't it? I think everyone's best guess here is they tried to sell the company and nobody wanted it. That's where they were going to get the money from, but it's just not happening. September 30th, 2022. Booth at Essen. Your pledges for the second Kickstarter campaign are already produced, but won't be sold at Essen. Yeah, the money's put aside, yada yada, that's all gone. At this point, we've only seen pictures of individual minis and moulds and print materials. Well, the files for print materials. We haven't actually seen any print materials yet. We haven't seen, you know how most Kickstarters they have that where it shows the warehouse, it shows all the pallets full of games? We haven't seen that yet. So even though they say that they're all produced, we have not yet seen any evidence of any board games being produced ready to ship to backers. October 27th, 2022. Discussions and options are still ongoing. We need to find the best solution to start the shipments as soon as possible in 2023. So the first quarter of 2023, come on! Also in that time, Namigi starts to ship, presumably using Monumental's money. December the 8th, 2022. I'm sorry to announce, we need a little more time. The first quarter of 2023 is no longer an option, but we start the fulfillment of your pledges in the course of next year, hopefully before summer. From now on, so you know, there will be no more monthly updates. Now this is when they started to lose support. People were really angry that there'll be no more monthly updates because it just shows the lack of care they had for this project or this Kickstarter as soon as the money had gone and as soon as they'd done whatever they needed to do to wash their hands of it. So that was December, so there's no monthly update. So when's the next update? It's January 12th, 2023. Hi fellow backers, we thank you again for your patience and wish everyone the most happy new year. This is it, finally the year you will receive Monumental, come on! Then, 2 months later, March the 8th, 2023. As our market is evolving very fast since COVID, we dedicated our time and efforts on urgent matters to adapt to a changing world, but it doesn't change anything for Monumental. I can confirm that shipping will start before summer, come on! April 25th, 2023, the Pledge Manager is closing the 3rd of May, and then the June the 2nd, 2023, is the greatest comment in Kickstarter history. Thanks to Rat and Fanger for helping me find it, digging through the comments to get it, because they didn't put it as an update, they put it as a comment. For reasons you'll see why. So remember, this was in a comment. Hello fellow backers, I got some important news. Starting shipments before summer, June the 21st, is not realistic anymore. We never thought it would have been. The summer season is getting closer and closer, and since mid-May, we've received more than 300 PM of backers who are concerned about their pledge. These people are taking holidays between the end of June and the end of August, and no one is home during their vacation. As we can't be 100% sure that their pledge is delivered before they leave, and as hundreds more may be concerned, we need to postpone delivery a bit. Plus, we know that season is worst along with Christmas for delivering orders. So their excuse for not shipping the game is they had 300 complaints of people saying that they won't be home and they expect hundreds of more people to not be home because of the summer period. And somebody pointed out in the comments that if you take the Northern Hemisphere summer and the Southern Hemisphere's summer, you take Christmas, you take Chinese New Year, you take Thanksgiving, you take all these other holidays where people won't be home, there is never a time that you can deliver a game and have everyone happy. You just have to do it when you can, and they chose not to. This is clearly just an excuse. But I must say, as far as excuses go, this is hilarious. It's also when they started to lose a majority. The people who were kind of being patient, being more understanding about COVID, people like myself, started to turn and go, okay, this game is not arriving. July the 4th, 2023, they said an update to say there'll be no updates. They already said they're not going to do a monthly update, but obviously it was July the 4th, so between America and the rest of the world, apparently, everybody's going to be on holiday. So who would have read it? September the 18th, 2023, on September the 6th, Funforge announced the release of Monumental, the board game, into retail. The Kickstarter exclusive board game Monumental. Now, to be fair, they are only selling the token version retail, not the miniatures version in retail. But what are you going to do? They said that they had $250,000 in extra shipping to be able to ship to backers. I mean, they're paying every month for storage for all these games that they say they've printed that we still haven't had any photographic evidence of. They've also got the money to print and ship copies to sell to retail stores. So the money is there somewhere. It's just they pick and choose what that money can be used for. October the 30th, 2023, first shipments will start early December. Come on! And we'll let you know soon which geographical areas will be covered first. Depending on the country you live in, you may receive your pledge in December 23 or later in 2024. Now, December 2023 is interesting because we've already said, in their own words, that Christmas is a bad time to send out games. Lots of people are going to be on holiday at Christmas. You can't ship them then, so nobody was expecting them to. And they got a lot of sarcasm in the comments for it. November the 29th, 2023. You have waited a very long time, but the games are finally coming to your gaming tables. We're very pleased to announce that the shipment for Monumental is about to begin. November 2029, it's about to begin. Come on. That was the last update they posted. That was 9 months ago. But it doesn't stop there. In February 2024, they announced 3 new games, Monumental Duel. These are games based in the Monumental world. They are 2-player games. They immediately got review bombed. I don't agree with review bombing, but people have done it and they've got really bad reviews on Board Game Geek. Again, no money to ship games, but money to produce and print and demo and get the artwork for new games. But there you go. March 11th, 2024 was the last time Funforge logged into Kickstarter. So if you had any doubts that they do not care about this project at all, it's there, but there might be a reason for it. We'll get to it in a bit. In fact, we'll get to it now. April, Charlotte left Funforge. Charlotte was sort of the community manager who'd been dealing with people in the comments. She was probably the one logging into Kickstarter, so that's why nobody's logged in. And some people are saying there's no staff at Funforge now, but that was just one French site. LinkedIn said there's a few members of staff still working for Funforge. Somebody's obviously designing and testing and doing all the marketing for these Monumental games they're bringing out, so somebody's got to be there. Something else dodgy that has happened. So the 18th of April 2024, Philippe started a new studio called Best Move Studios, which is a design company, and I think that says to people in the comments on the Kickstarter that he is completely checked out of Funforge and doesn't give a crap anymore and really is not interested in shipping this game to backers at all. Despite having no money in May of 2024, they sponsored Wellycon, New Zealand's biggest board game convention, so there's still money there to do stuff, again just not money to ship a board game to backers who have already paid for it. And then in May 2024 is very sad news. Hooligan, who has been a bit of a troll in the comment, he's been Funforge's biggest fanboy and chief bum kisser, he stopped commenting and even he started to turn, I'll say he or they, whoever they are, they started to turn on Funforge a little bit, but not as much as everyone else, and the sort of the rumours that it was Charlotte in disguise, Charlotte left in April, Hooligan stopped commenting in May. It does kind of line up that they are probably maybe the same person. In May the 10th, 2024, Philippe did an interview with GameWire about this Kickstarter, and the Funforge founder and CEO Philippe told Board Game Wire that backers of the heavily delayed campaign would receive an update this month, but conceded that Funforge is still not ready to deliver the game. Despite production being completed in 2022, can we have pictures of that, please? And is currently putting in place the solutions to achieve the deliveries. Funforge's Monumental campaign was heavily impacted by COVID-19 crisis, which caused vast delays to global manufacturing, saw freight shipping costs soar, an impossible to predict situation suffered by scores of tabletop gamers, board game publishers. But why then did they start the campaign during COVID if it was unknown and unforeseen? I don't understand people who start it during the pandemic and then complain that the pandemic messed things up. I don't think you get an excuse for that. In July 2024, they've announced that they'll have 2 booths at Essen, and they're going to have 2 booths in Hall 5 instead of 1 big booth in Hall 1. This shows they are scaling down a little bit. Booth 5 and Hall 5 is it's much darker, and it's where the cheaper booths are, so they are scaling back a bit. I would say to everyone, because a lot of people who are going, I myself will be there, and I will of course be having a word, please be polite. The people at the booths probably have nothing to do with any of this, so just be nice, ask questions, and just kind of keep your language, and just be don't be a dick is basically what I'm saying. Okay, so this video is going out the 22nd of July. It's the 13th of July as I record this outro, and all of that in the timeline is still up to date. Nothing has changed since. So the first thing is just this timeline in general. I just find it quite funny, the amount of mistruths that they tell. I say mistruths instead of lies because I do believe that some of them may be genuine. We wanted to deliver the game in November, but we couldn't. But I do think there's some occasions, especially with that holiday update saying they couldn't send any games out because too many people would be on holiday and miss it. I think that was not true at all. I think they could have sent the games out if they want to. And now they definitely should have done. But yes, there was a lot of unforeseen stuff with COVID and it did get a bit chaotic, but it was launched during COVID at a time of uncertainty. They should have just delayed the whole thing. But they also made a lot of mistakes, so they said they weren't going to offer the token version. Then they did offer the token version, which turned out to be 1% of all backers, and only 5 backers took the Last Kingdom expansion. So if they've just got 5 copies of that lying around in the warehouse and they can ship those out to the 5 backers, that's fine, but isn't there a minimum number of games you can print? So they're going to have to print a lot of copies of the Lost Kingdom expansion, plus to cover the ones that other people have backed, which wasn't many. It was less than 400 people actually backed the token version in total. So I don't know what we know what they're going to do with them. They probably printed a load, run out of money and sold them all, which is why they went into retail. But it's definitely a mistake was made during the Kickstarter. And the second one is for Funforge. We need to see these games. We need pictures of the storage unit. We need to see all the boxes together. We need to hold today's paper up in front of them as well and take a picture of yourself with these games because we want to see them. People who have backed the token version, all 400 of them, will want to know that their token versions are there and you haven't sold them into retail. You said you hadn't. We'll take that as your word. We won't live in a fancy world, more on that in a second. We'll take that as your word, but we want to see them. We haven't seen them yet. Somebody somewhere with a camera, everyone's got a camera, should be able to take a picture and you can post it as an update. And also, I know some people have been very rude and very angry with you. Stop blocking people on social media who haven't been rude, who are just genuinely asking the question. It's not a big deal. You've taken money from them and not given them a product. People are allowed to ask the question. So stop blocking people on social media. One for Philippe directly, when you're giving an interview, how about not saying the backers are living the fancy over and over when talking about the backers that you ripped off? And then you go on in that same interview to say that you will update by the end of the month. That was 2 months ago. You didn't update. And the reason people are living in a fancy land, as you call it, is we have to speculate because you don't tell us anything. And when you do, it turns out to not be true. So what else can we do apart from think about why haven't you done something? If you don't tell us, we have to guess ourselves. Okay, let's calm down a bit. And number 3 is Kickstarter need to do more to help backers. This sort of thing is happening more and more frequently. It used to be a big news story when it happens. Now it's just another Kickstarter just isn't delivering. Oh well, move on to the next one. They need to do more than add a checkbox for backers to tick to say that they're not going to do anything about it, because this isn't about getting creative products off the ground anymore. This is what a majority of the board game projects are for. They're a pre-order system for established board game companies. We've known that for a while. This isn't what Kickstarter was intended for. It's not for little companies. It's not for indie designers to get their game off the ground. This is a pre-order company for companies like Come On. They're not doing anything to deter these big companies from just taking all the money and running with it. But we'll finish on some good news. Myth Journeyman, which was due to deliver in June 2016, was by a company called Megacon. They went bankrupt and it actually delivered in June 2024. I got my stuff last month, which is great. So there is good news. Things do happen, and we didn't want to end this on a sour note. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share and subscribe. If you backed Monumental and you're like me, you're just a bit fed up and deflated about the whole thing and all the mistruths and the promises that are always broken, let me know in the comments below. Remember to like, share, subscribe and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.